Take any major religion practiced today. Statistically, there is an 80% chance it originated in one of just two specific geographical corridors, the Middle East or India. While thousands of gods were dreamt up across every other continent, those local beliefs largely faded into history. Only the ideas born in these two regions developed the specific architecture required to scale across the entire planet. 400,000 years ago, inside a cave system in Spain, a pre-human species left behind evidence of a shift in cognition. At the bottom of a blind 13-meter vertical shaft, anthropologists found the remains of 28 individuals, Homo heidelbergensis. These bodies hadn't fallen by accident. They were carried through tight, pitch-black crevices and deliberately placed in this pit. Beside the skeletons lay a single, hand-carved axe made of rare pink quartz. It showed no signs of wear and no scratches from use. In a prehistoric world where every hour of labor had to yield a strict survival advantage, an ancestor spent days crafting a beautiful, functional tool, only to discard it in a grave. Animals avoid their dead to escape infection, but these hominids spent vital energy on a ritual with no obvious biological utility. By placing a symbolic object with the dead, they demonstrated the capacity to layer reality with abstract meaning. They were no longer just reacting to the world, they were beginning to tell stories about it. This ability to project stories onto the world is a byproduct of how our brains handle stress. When people feel out of control and are shown random visual static, they consistently hallucinate recognizable faces within the noise. This is a survival mechanism. If the bushes rustle, your brain calculates that it is safer to mistake the wind for a predator 10 times than to ignore a real threat once. Our ancestors were biologically wired to see agency and intention in the chaos of nature. Early hunter-gatherers applied this algorithm to everything. They assigned intention to the lightning, gave personalities to the rivers, and saw spirits in animals. This framework, known as animism, gave a narrative to the unpredictable forces of the wild. As historian Yuval Noah Harari observes, these shared myths provided a massive advantage. A tribe that believes in the same spirits follows the same rules. These collective fictions acted as a social glue, allowing small groups to maintain the psychological stability needed to cooperate and survive. This tribal balance lasted for hundreds of millennia, until the end of the last ice age. As the glaciers retreated, the sudden shift in climate triggered the extinction of the megafauna, the primary high-calorie food source for nomadic humans. With the big game gone, humanity faced a choice: adapt or starve. Migration paths funneled populations toward the Fertile Crescent and the Indus Valley. These regions were uniquely rich in wild wheat and barley, crops that could be harvested in bulk and stored for months of lean weather. Settling down triggered a demographic explosion. Small bands of 50 people grew into permanent towns. At Çatalhöyük in modern Turkey, archaeologists found evidence of 8,000 people living in a single, dense cluster of clay brick homes. This growth hit a hard biological ceiling. Based on our brain's neocortex, humans can only maintain stable, trust-based relationships with about 150 people. Once a settlement grows past this number, the social network fractures. You can no longer know the reputation or intentions of everyone around you. The archaeological record shows the result of this transition. For the first time, we see evidence of grain hoarding and wealth inequality. Skulls found in these early cities show a sharp increase in weapon fractures. Strangers living together without trust were descending into internal violence. Our biological hardware was never designed for cities of thousands. Without a new way to manage interactions between strangers, early civilization was on the verge of collapsing under its own weight. The first signs of a solution appear at Göbekli Tepe. Long before building cities or farming, hunter-gatherers carved 20-ton stone pillars into massive temple complexes. Coordinating thousands of people to move these stones required a massive food supply. The logistical demand of building temples accelerated the transition to farming. We didn't build temples because we were farmers. We became farmers so we could build temples. These temples became the first centers of data management. As thousands brought offerings, priests pressed symbols into clay tablets to record contributors. This earliest writing wasn't poetry, it was accounting. These tablets functioned as humanity's first human resources ledgers and banking spreadsheets, tracking livestock debts. Because the temple held the records and the food, it became the first court and bank. If a farmer took a loan, the contract was held by the priests. If two strangers had a dispute, they looked to the temple for a verdict. Because the rules were issued in the name of a shared god, both parties accepted the outcome. Structured religion provided a standardized framework that biology lacked. It created a common moral code and a central authority, allowing thousands of disconnected individuals to trade, borrow, and coexist through shared trust. While the Middle East and India faced the same challenges of scaling up, they developed two very different ways to organize their social data. In the Middle East, the system evolved toward extreme centralization. Thousands of local spirits were consolidated into a single, omnipotent god. This architecture maximized administrative efficiency, creating a top-down hierarchy where one absolute truth governed every aspect of the state. In the Indian subcontinent, the system took a decentralized path. While it recognized a single ultimate truth, Brahman, that truth was allowed to multiply into millions of localized forms. Every village and family could maintain their own deities and rituals while remaining part of the same compatible network. This distributed structure made the civilization incredibly resilient. When invading empires tried to replace the local culture, they found no central node to capture. The belief system was so widespread and varied that it could survive centuries of occupation without being erased. These two models dominated the globe because they were the only frameworks robust enough to manage the social complexity of millions of people. They were the administrative engines that made large-scale civilization possible. We often think of our modern world as being purely secular, but our global systems are built on the same foundations laid 10,000 years ago. A paper banknote or a digital stock certificate has no intrinsic value. They only function because millions of strangers collectively believe in the abstract authority of the institution that issued them. Modern nation-states operate on the same logic. They are conceptual tribes, held together not by biological relation, but by shared national myths and a mutual belief in a set of invisible laws. The drive to find patterns in the chaos and turn them into shared stories was the mechanism that enabled human cooperation. It allowed us to step out of the forest, trust a stranger, and build the structures of the modern world.